Go grab them. Hopefully let them finish before you... Tell me when you're ready. Send somebody out. Hey, Ron, would you walk out in the hall and ask everybody, tell everybody we're fixing to start if they're going to come in and do the Bobtalks? I actually will explain that. Sorry. What are they doing? Just hanging out? That's great. We have video. They can watch the playback. Where did C-Blind? I guess C-Blind went down there for a second. I give it like 2 minutes and we'll fire it up. Are you going to stand up here or are you going to sit down at the table? Okay, cool.
Is there a VGA?
Yeah, it's hanging right here. In fact, you want to plug it in? Might as well. I mean, you're just going to jump in right behind me. There's one behind us right here. I'll straddle it. I got you. Also have
A clicky thing. They're literally just images.
Oh, that's right.
Scroll through. If I were fancy enough to use slides, is this going to overtake the whatever you're using there? Should I plug it in?
No, it's it.
Because you're doing something there.
Oh, it'll kick over whenever it pulls it. You can go ahead and set it up. Badass slides. That's great.
So the last slide.
That's awesome.
I got a couple network diagrams.
Cool.
That basically explains the whole thing. It's just look at the network diagram. You've got my whole top.
There we go. Is C-Blind coming back or what? Alrighty then. You want to fire it up and we'll start? We're recording? Hi, everybody. Hang on, let me record that for my ringtone. Is that your phone ringing? Hi, Skydog. So, is everybody having a good time? Excellent, excellent. Everybody well fed? Have you eaten? Everyone? Hi? Huh? Bitch beer. Anyway, well, excellent. So I'm Skydog, if you don't know who I am. I'm the one who's legally responsible for all this fiasco, I believe. Unless you count the hotel, then it's Scott. So I'm gonna kick off the Bobtalks. Who knows what TED Talks are? Who likes the TED Talks? Right. I love the TED Talks. The downside of the TED Talks, none of us will ever sit in the audience at a TED Talk. They're supposed to come to Nashville, and I believe it was like 30 grand or something. You had to pay some outrageous fee to be able to live stream the stuff off the web, to be able to watch it in real time. Honestly, I can do that while I work and watch the stuff after it's been post-processed and all the neat things have been put in it, so why am I going to spend that money? I really like the idea of the TED Talks. Some of them are 2 minutes long. Some of them are 15 to 20. Depends on what the subject matter is. As how most things actually take place, I was bored one day for a good 30 seconds or so, and I thought, you know what would be really cool to do? Did I just say that? Jeez. What would be really cool would be to do something like TED Talks, but then I thought, I really don't want to start another conference. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. So I thought, let's do Bob. We had Outerz0ne, now there's Outerz0ne. There's Ted, now there's Bob. So, who said that? Kick his ass. Dude. Actually make a good point. But anyway, we called them Bobtalks. Someone actually suggested Breaker Build, which is kind of a takeoff of some of the stuff that ShmooCon does. They're a different track. So I really like the idea of the short staccatos things, because some people won't be able to come up with 45 to 50 minutes worth of material for their talk and would like to do something short, sweet, and to the point. It is not something where start to finish you explain everything, you have this big long drawn out conversation with everyone in the crowd. It's a, hey, here's what my idea is, this is a general thing, catch me later, buy me a drink, and I'll explain the rest and we'll collaborate on it. So this is kind of the general idea behind it. So I have to take a little bit of crap because the website wasn't updated as much as it needed to be, if at all. But hey, listen, man, you're a tough crowd. I didn't get to a lot of the things that I needed to get to this year in the time that I needed to get to them. So next year we're going to have a web czar. I think I've actually found somebody who's going to take care of a lot of the web stuff for me, so that it takes some of the load off me. And because I'm not a web guy, I build infrastructure and things like that. I make a really, really direct and to the point website with no flashy graphics. So I'd like to thank My image folder has like 9 images in it, and 2 of them are me. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the people who, first of all, actually volunteered to do a talk here. Second of all, the people that volunteered to do a Bob talk. It only listed 2 of them on the page. I had several people come up and offer to do them. We had several people who were slated to do it, but I actually... one was having to drive out here at the time, so I couldn't update the website, spending about 7 hours in transit, which is a lot of fun. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who stepped up and said, I'd be glad to do a Bob talk. And so everyone, a round of applause. I'm kind of hoping that this will end up being something we do every year. We take an hour or 2, and they're nice, quick staccato talks, and everyone kind of gets to think something up. Not that I want every talk to be that way, Iron Geek, and stop after 30 minutes, but just kidding. He's actually going to do another one. We can't get him to talk in one contiguous block, so we'll break it up. So, who gets the movie reference? It's Good to Be the King. History War Part 1. Who was the actor? But no one could tell me what the launch code was for the missiles in war games. Come on, guys. You're killing me. It's good to be the king. Everything's so green. So, since it's good to be the king, I'm actually going to do my talk first because I'm mean that way. We have 6 people are actually going to get up, or 6 groups people that are actually going to get up and do the Bob Talks. Myself, CP's got one coming up. Madeline's from Freeside, you're going to do one. Iron Geek, and then the group of Sporus, Nadia, and possibly Casey if he's awake. I haven't seen him yet today. And then Arafat's going to get up. He's got a few minutes. he wants to talk. So they're very quick and staccato. They're about 10 minutes long at most. We've got a couple minutes in between to reset for laptops and things of that nature, so we'll try to shuffle through them really quick. I will stop yammering. If anyone claps, I'll smack you. There's one in every crowd. So I wanted to do a talk, and there are very few things that actually I'm a subject matter expert on that I can feel comfortable about standing up and talking. And I've already done all those talks at cons, so I'm working on the next one, but this is it. So what is a hacker? And everyone in the room, I don't know if we want to split everybody off and, we'll do this hand raising. Everyone will go from one side to the other. There have been several people that try to categorize us. The media, which most of them are assholes. Yeah, hiss and boo. Ourselves, if you've ever been to ShmooCon, some of the other cons, there'll be either panel talks or there'll be guys standing around and we're arguing about what we call each other. You're a white hat, you're a black hat, you're a gray hat, which I don't think anyone ever uses those. Way back in the day, it was you're a hacker, you're a cracker. Nowadays, I think we're just hackers and criminals. So take your pick which one you are. I think terrorist. Yeah, do you remember Maverick went to BNA, Nationals Airport, and one year at Freaknik, our T-shirt said, "I'm a hacker, not a terrorist," and that was right after 9/11. So he was walking around through the airport to pick someone up, holding his hand over the logo because he was afraid that they were going to tackle him and throw him to the ground. And actually, it probably would have been a good idea to do that to Maverick, but what can you say? So we have a hard time actually kind of categorizing ourselves. And I don't think that one or two or even three tags actually categorize who we are and what we do. I know there are a lot of words used to describe me. Oh, you are mean. So, who knows who Ashley Schwartow is? A few of us. She put a DVD out. She did a documentary where she went to TourCon and she went to DEF CON, I believe, and got a lot of video. And hers was a DVD called Hackers Are People Too. And it was kind of funny because a lot of the guys that I run around with at DEF CON and Shmoo were, they're just kind of informal interviews. And someone said it best. I think it was actually Noyd that said, we're just like everyone else. We're not dark, shadowy characters, in a basement locked away somewhere working on something. We do our laundry, we mow our yards, we have to do that stuff. So we're just kind of standard people. We just look at things a lot differently than the rest of the world does. So I'm the president of the Hacker Consortium, which is our maker shop in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a lot of different people there. Who did BASIC? Okay, some of the older guys. I did BASIC. I did Pascal in college. I'm not that big of a programmer. I do it when I've got a gun to my head and I have to do it. Well, actually, never mind. I don't code unless I have to. If it's something where I have to figure out a way to get data from here to there, and it requires me to open a book and figure it out. So that's not really my gig. Now, Arafat in the back. Arafat programs in Ruby like nobody's business. I've never seen someone flip between screen sessions as quickly and as efficiently as he does. That's his gig. He's one of our resident programmers. Wrench is another one. So we all kind of have our own strengths and weaknesses. I'm a physical materials kind of guy. I weld. A lot of the things that you see floating around, the boxes that you see up here that have the projector on it, I custom built all those myself, painted them, the whole 9 yards, welded up the base for it. I don't know. It's just something to do, I guess, to waste a lot of time. But we kind of have our own specialties. I guess I would be considered a maker and a hacker to some sort. I have other projects that I work on. Every one of our little slides here now has Vanderbilt University's logo in the background. I didn't know they programmed that into the projector. So I actually work for a university in the South, and I'm not really sure which one it is, and I can't really tell you. at the consortium, we have a lot of collaboration. Someone comes in and says, man, I really want to learn how to weld. Well, I fire up the welder and we figure out how to really screw up a piece of metal. I can come in and say, hey, I don't understand what the hell's going on with this. Can someone look at this code? So it's really nice to be able to collaborate in that way because, honestly, if it wasn't for that and all you could do was Google and look at a book, it'd take a lot longer to get things done. I'm kind of a visual guy. Point to it, tell me what I'm doing. So we kind of see things a little bit differently. I have a project that I'm working on where I am intercepting data at a large southern university that's coming in on a single subnet, and then I cut down that data, and I'm looking for any probes, anything that's a TCP connection from Russia, Iraq, China, and Romania. And oddly enough, from those 4 countries, I get about 30,000 hits where they're trying to make a connection there. The only trouble is with 30,000 bits of data, it's really hard to visualize what's going on. So I've collected the data and discovered a lot of patterns. My problem now is I got to find someone who can help me actually visualize that, search for patterns, things of that nature. And since I can't get a hold of Al Stroger to save my life, I can't say, hey, would you write something for me that really does something neat? So he's a little bit out of pocket. We all kind of see things differently. Like I say, I'm a materials kind of guy. When you say, hey, I want to do so-and-so, a blank look will come across my face, and I'm thinking my way through, this is how we're going to make it work. Other guys, like, I hate to keep using Arafat, when he codes, you say something to him, and he looks at you like, dude, you do it in Ruby. What are you talking about, Perl? Ruby, do it in Ruby. So the way that we look at things in the world, we're not, I guess, for the large part, no one would quite understand what we're doing here this weekend. You go back and you got somebody floating around the office and they say, so, what'd you do this weekend? Do you tell them? My boss says, hey, you're taking time off for the weekend. Where are you going? I'm going to Atlanta to hang out with 120 of my favorite friends and party all weekend and talk computers. And he's, really, you guys do that? Yeah, we do. Just, I'm a plumber. Don't ask, So I think it's important that we not worry so much about what a hacker is, what the moniker is. What I'm gray hat, black hat. I'm a blue hat with yellow print. Has anyone, Scott, take your hat off. Does anybody know who that guy is? So it's important that we don't specifically search for a name to classify ourselves. It's important that we kind of keep the spirit of what we do. We're not going to be understood by everybody. I think a lot of us kind of like it that way. I like being the weird guy that comes in the room and wears black all the time. So, thank you. Rat. Jerk. Hey, Mike Hahn, thank you. So, it's good to be the king. So in summation, anyone in the room, were you a jock when you were in high school? All right, kick the shit out of Billy, you're getting the shit kicked out of you in the parking lot on the way out. So very few of us started out as jocks or the extremely popular crowd. Well, the fun part about the way that things are going now is we're very important. And as time goes on, honestly, we used to be the guys with the pocket protectors in the basement and everything, and now, guess what? There are companies just absolutely clamoring. That's it. He who controls the data controls the world. So I think it's very important that we spend a lot of time. There's a lot of wouldn't it be cool ifs that are wonderful, but it's also important that we spend some time figuring out what we need to do as a group to actually further what we do. The year of do is, now people are looking to us other than just to fix their home computer. It's important that we figure out what we're going to do to help society. If you're a member of InfraGard or something goofy like that, if you're able to sit down and help someone understand what an attack is like and what's going on and how they should fix their systems in their business and how you can make $125 an hour consulting doing that, then you need to do that, definitely. But I think we should all kind of sit down and think what we can do to collaborate, spread information, kind of bring the new guys in. Strict, you got to find the new guys. You got to keep them from getting into too much trouble. Then you got to find them that $250,000 a year job doing something goofy that they're really talented at. So we need to kind of concentrate on that. The con that I run here is, like I said, not a money maker, but it's more a way for everyone to come together and have a good time. But my goal is for you guys to get together, okay, maybe do a couple of shots together, but to find someone who does something that you need to have done, or someone that you can teach what you do and share your skills and collaborate and kind of go from there. If there's anything I can do to facilitate it, if there's anything about the conference that I can do that you think would be a great fit, or if you just want to tell me you think the con sucks, you can send that to devnull@outerzone.org. If you do have comments and things of that, ideas you'd like to do, talks you'd like to do, send it to skydog@outerzone.org. I promise I will actually respond to emails from now on out. Shut up. Yeah, I got your schmoo. Ooh, I'm in trouble for that one. So on that note, I'll be going to crawl into the doghouse. CP is going to come up and do his presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. I hope you enjoy the rest of the con.
So my entire talk can be summed up in 2 network diagram slides. So I'm just going to kind of tell you the story of how it kind of came into existence as soon as I get this set up. Just to kind of add my 2 cents to what Scott was saying, when people ask you what you do or what your interests are, do you tell them you're a hacker, or do you cop out and tell them I'm an information security specialist? I do network security. So who calls themselves a hacker? In network security? Okay. I was just curious. I for one think that it's important that we're proud of the word hacker, even though it's misconstrued in so many different ways. I'm a hacker, and I'm proud to be a hacker. I just want to let you guys know that. Yeah. I'm not going to recover, thank you. All right, so I did my my slides in MS Paint on the plane. I don't know if you can see that. Can we bring the lights down a little bit, maybe? All right, is that better? Just a little bit, maybe? No? Oh, well, Project Floodgate with badass slides. I originally wanted a way that I could take my laptop or any computer, any embedded device, an iPhone, my Dreamcast, anything that can connect to my network, and I want to send all of its data through Tor, regardless of whether it has internal proxy settings that allow you to do this, or even has proxy settings that you can trust. You don't know if the device or the operating system is going to send phone home calls or update requests via outside your proxy settings. So initially I just wanted to send all data from any device that was network accessible to Tor and become as anonymous as Tor gets. So like I said, I'm just going to kind of work through the process of how it expanded it is to what it is now. So basically our idea was we'll take a device and just set your own IP address. You're on the subnet 192.168.94. Whatever. Non-DHCP list, you just customize it yourself. And when the router gets that data, it's just going to pass it on to another box on the network called the Floodgate box. What Floodgate does right now is it takes all incoming connections and it uses IP tables to divvy up the TCP streams over multiple Tor instances. So Floodgate can run anywhere between 1 and 100 Tor instances, depending on the hardware limitations that you have. We found that about 50 was a good limit based on how many nodes there are in the Tor network, which is about 1,753, somewhere in that range. So I mean, it was interesting. You just send all data that we have through multiple Tor instances. You're not going to see an increase in overall speed, what you're going to find is you kind of have a thicker pipe that you could do more devices on, as opposed to all devices on the network on that subnet being routed through what single Tor instance. It gets load balanced over multiple Tor instances. So it's a little bit nicer to not have to waste your bandwidth with other clients on the network. So that's basically is what it comes down to. Like I said, it can pretty much just be summed up as this. What we then thought about is, what bit of software uses a bunch of individual TCP streams that don't have anything to do with each other? BitTorrent. No, I don't hate BitTorrent, and no, I don't hate Tor. I just think it's beautiful to marry them together. So what we ended up doing was something like this. This works in very interesting ways, because the TCP streams that get routed over each of the Tor nodes randomly right now by IP tables. We're going to do weighted load balancing later, just as kind of it is what it is right now. Because of how BitTorrent works, the TCP streams go out, divvied up to each of the Tor networks, and the Tor exit nodes all have different IP addresses. So all the exit nodes join the same swarm, and the swarm now thinks that instead of seeing one new client, it has 50 new clients, 50 peers. So instead of allocating bandwidth and resources to send bits of data to a single client, it's now sending data to 50 clients, which all in the end route back to your client. So theoretically, you could get faster speeds over Floodgate than you could via a single BitTorrent connection on a regular internet connection. In our test case, we were downloading an Ubuntu ISO at 2.4 megabytes per second, which was kind of approaching the speed limit of my internet connection, just as is. And through Floodgate, we used 50 Tor nodes, and we found that we were getting about 1.448 megabytes per second download completely over Tor. Yes, this is kind of shitty to do to Tor and to BitTorrent. Like I said, I don't hate them. I just think it's an interesting idea, and I'd like to see where this could evolve and maybe change. Yeah.
What about redundant data?
What's cool about that is I think BitTorrent already can tell when it gets redundant data and just discards it before it brings it back in. Also, what we're doing, what's it's kind of doing is it's not broadcasting the same packets, or sorry, I'm just kind of rambling right now. I don't think we're going to have a problem with duplicate data as is, because the way the load balancing works is it takes incoming TCP connection streams to Floodgate, to the IP tables, and it just randomly chooses a Tor node to send that TCP stream to. So it's not breaking apart the stream. It's still having the handshake and the full bit of data. So when BitTorrent tells the swarm, hey, I want data, it just doesn't go over the same IP address. It goes through, goes through its own kind of Tor instance.
What's theoretically stopping two separate peers from sending two separate
Because there's...
the same data packet?
Because I think, like I said, I'm not a Tor expert. I'm not a BitTorrent expert. This is just kind of a half-assed, harebrained idea we threw together. Like I said, I'm pretty sure BitTorrent will just discard duplicate data, as well as... I don't think it's a big of an issue, and I can't really relay why, but you come find me afterwards, and we can talk about that, just because I'm not good at talking in front of people. Sorry, guys. I have my water. It's good water. No, Tor will only do TCP IP streams. And what it does actually is it even strips away a lot of the IP headers and just maintains a lot of the core data that's in the TCP stream. Trying to think. I can't hear you. Speak up. The question was, will this allow us to make more than one connection to the same seeder? Yes, because of the way BitTorrent allocates resources in the swarm inherently, it's going to see each exit node as its own client, as its own peer. So like I said, theoretically, we could surpass the download limitations that you get from only connecting from a single client. To the swarm, using 50 exit nodes, and this is 50 BitTorrent friendly exit nodes, which is a different story entirely, because they do BT filtering on ports by default. The swarm now sees multiple clients, which it thinks are individual clients in themselves, but in reality they all route back to us over the Tor network. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some, so just find me afterwards. Website's dc949.org /projects/floodgate. You can download our source code. Right now, it's just a script that does all the IP tables, all the Tor instances. It just sets it all for you. You just need to install Tor, install IP tables. Since you can't read that, we're on DC-949 on FNet. My email is cp@dc949.org. People who couldn't make it but were involved, Jeff Ball, Mr. Gordon Dexter, Virus, Dr. Nichols, and Joel Cola. Okay. Are there any more questions?
So did you find any devices that were, so I understand why you did it, like let's just have raw traffic and wrap
Yeah.
it out of this box and put it
It just kind of grew into BitTorrent, so it's still really handy for regular shit.
find any devices that had, like, if you set up proxy settings, there were certain things they didn't use proxy settings for. That's a
I haven't found them explicitly, but I mean, when you really think about it, there has to be something out there that, I mean, come on, Microsoft, for Christ's sake. There's going to be something out there, any kind of embedded devices, because they have those embedded HD gaming devices that you plug in. I'm pretty sure you can't do proxy settings. Let's say you wanted to reverse engineer that, but you didn't want to have it hit your home IP. You just do it over Tor, over the floodgate setup. Yeah. No, nothing specifically came up. Like I said, I didn't find anything there, but I'm not a BT expert. I'm not a Tor expert. This is just kind of an idea I had, and it kind of manifested itself into a really interesting project. Like I said, the source code is available at dc949.org /projects/floodgate. If you're interested, it's all in Bash right now. Yeah, the whole thing runs in Bash. It just basically sets up IP tables. Yeah, IP tables, and it starts and stops Tor instances, does all the routing and stuff. Yes, I'll put them on the website. Future improvements are going to be to do weighted load balancing, just because right now it's just randomly choosing a Tor connection, so we don't really know which Tor connections are being used too well. As well as we would like to glean BT-friendly exit nodes out of the Tor system by setting up our own tracker and just connecting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times over Tor and gleaning out the BT-friendly ones, and then specifying those exit nodes in our startup script.
Just automate the process because
It's all automatic right now. Like, you just run the script, and if you have it installed, you're good. You have Tor and IP tables installed. That's all you really need to do. I did forget one thing. If you run the code yourself, right now it's not set up to do the subnet routing. So on the network, all you have to do is set the gateway to whatever the floodgate box is. That's it. And that. So there you go. Thank you, guys.
I lost track of which one he said. Who's next?
I couldn't tell you.
Where's Skydog at?
Oh, he ran off.
Hello.
Oh, you're standing on my cable.
I'm not. I'm not staying on a table.
Are you looking at my hit here?
Alright. Figure out these shenanigans. There's nothing in it. Don't worry about it.
You don't have anything in your water bottle?
I don't, actually.
Trying to shame the previous speaker?
I wish. No. I wish that I had water in there.
I'm gonna go put some on because you want it.
Let's see if this worked the way that I wanted it to. How did you switch it over?
I just. Are you running? What are you running? Just whatever. Yeah, there you go.
It's beautiful.
Auto magic.
Alright. Hang on, guys. I actually made slides, which makes me think that this talk might be longer than it should be. I'm Madeline. I'm also known as Kiki. I'm also known as Creative Taboo. I am not an InfoSec tech person. I am a media design person. I am the PR director for Freeside, or PR czar, as Ducky so fondly calls me. When we were talking earlier, and I've been talking to people here from various hacker spaces, one of the things that's been coming up a lot is how to advertise the space, whether or not, I guess the resounding debate, whether or not media is good for you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. My disclaimer is that I'm not anything to do with PR. I like it. I'm good at it. I know people that are professionals, and they help me out. And so I do this stuff for Freeside. It tends to work pretty well. I don't guarantee it if it doesn't work for you. So I'm going to skip over the what's a hackerspace. I think we've done a pretty good job in the earlier talks about that. I know a majority of you know your local hackerspaces, are parts of them, all of that jazz. So in regards to media, in regards to hackerspaces, I think the biggest issue that people come across is goal setting. And it always starts, and you tend to hear these stories of a bunch of people getting together and saying, hey, are you technology? Are you a hacker? I'm a hacker. Oh, awesome. Let's start a group. And it goes from there, and you start dealing with monetary. You start dealing with nonprofit status, and it gets messy and traumatic, and people cry, and it hurts. And by the end of it, you have a neat little organization, sort of. What tends to happen is as you start getting together, you lose sight of the fact that it is a nonprofit and that the goals of a hackerspace and why we do it. And the fact is yes, it's fun and we all like to get together and just break things, take things apart, build things, but it also is about community building and it's about education. And as scary as it might be, the best and easiest way to do that is to start dealing with people in your community, and usually through media. So one of the things that I've talked a lot to some PR directors, whether officially or non-officially in other spaces, and there comes a time, usually about once a year, when there's time to reevaluate what the goals are, why you're doing what you're doing. So these are the questions that we build is, we have to rethink every time, what are you trying to accomplish? Is it community education, and is it doing startups? What message, what are you trying to convey? There's a lot of hackerspaces that are perfectly fine being with each other and being in their own little bubble and not really wanting to bring new people in and teaching each other and not really wanting to do anything with the outside world, and that's just fine. But that needs to be part of whatever you're trying to accomplish and as the goals. One of the big things that gets a little sticky is short-term and long-term goals. What happens is what turns into, we focus on the short-term goals, like, hey, I came up with this really cool project, let's build it. And you forget that a year down the line that there's other things that need to get done. Otherwise, you're going to build this really cool project, and you're going to have absolutely no infrastructure whatsoever to show it to people and to build on it and to let other people, other spaces, the media, whatever, see it and say, hey, that's cool. You know what else we could do? And so there's this little gap in time. And so the important thing is whenever, as an individual, when you're working on projects, and as a group, you need to think, okay, if I'm starting this now, what am I going to do later with this? Can I publish it somewhere? Can I have another space work on it? This is info sharing here. The other little thing, matching strategy to budget. We talk about this a lot in Freeside when we want to do big events, and suddenly we realize that we have no money for it. There are ways to do it for cheap and free. This is the perfect crowd to be talking about doing things for cheap and free. Just remember that, or else you're going to have a nice, nasty little surprise in your budget later. In talking, what we talked about earlier, the media is not out to get you, generally. I was listening to the talk earlier and realized that, yeah, you do actually have to be kind of wary. We've had a couple people approach us, reporters, and it's been very obvious that what they wanted was, the stereotypical hacker in the basement and, doing really sketch things. Stay away from that. It's really hard to pick up the pieces. But point being is hackerspaces are this big bubble, and it's really cool, and people talk about it all the time, and they want to know. And the only way that they're going to know about it is if you tell them, or they tell someone else. Most of what we've gotten has been through contacts of people saying, hey, I just did this article, and they see another article, and they want to write an article, and that's how we get our members, too. When we had a creative loafing article come out at Freeside, the amount of people on our mailing list doubled in about a week. So a little goes a long way. And again, one of those things is why do you think people want to cover it? It's because it is a non-for-profit, usually, and it's about education and community outreach, and people generally care about that just as they would for anything else. Media sources, just generally, surprisingly, hackerspaces.org does not get as much attention as it deserves. There are plenty of places for you to advertise your space. If you have events, if you're doing the hackathon, if you just want to put your information up there, it is the best and easiest way for people to contact you. Hackaday, Make, Craft, surprisingly, has gotten into a lot more technology-based things. They will either seek you out, or you can submit to them. Interestingly enough, I'm big on blogs. Anyone that knows Freeside knows that I harass everyone about the blog, mostly because I'm the only one that posts there anymore lately. The reason that I am so bothersome about the blog is because the sources like Hackaday and Make and Craft will hunt down the biggest spaces that have the most blog hits, and they will pull your articles and they will pull your information in your projects, and they will post them on their site. So if you blog, they will find you. It works that way. Local papers, magazines, podcasts, op-eds, surprisingly. Anything, keep track of what's going on in your town. And if there's something that relates to technology or what you're doing, it does not hurt to just ping someone to send out a press release. To send Makers Local did a wonderful press release for the hackathon that is, I think, still on hackerspaces.org. It's a great example. Little thing, keep it out there, submit it, share it, goes a long way. The other big thing that we do is our swag. People are good on this. It goes a long way. We have thousands of these stickers. I've been handing them out and leaving them places all over Atlanta. And it's really great when you're driving and you find one on someone's car and you have no idea who they are and they have no idea who you are, but they think what you are is cool. Things like the water bottle. Anything that's free and cheap, people will take. The t-shirts, people like t-shirts. I wear my t-shirt. People wear t-shirts. Member projects. People, I know a group in Pumping Station 1 was looking about doing, not Pumping Station 1, one of the spaces that I can't recall actually does 3D printed logos to give out to people, which the 3D printer was built by one of their members. Dan the man from earlier has suggested homebrewing beer and giving it to spaces. So coffee, if you roast coffee, the term we use is hacker fuel. Anything like that is really, really beneficial. And the important thing really, and I'm probably going to just stop here, is involving members and involving other spaces. Your members are viable for information. They know people, they know other spaces. If you give them the information, you give them a press kit, you give little blurbs, a little will go a long way. Give them access to your blog. Let them do their thing. And yes, I'm psyched about the blog. Classes and events, the more you do them and the more you repeat them, it's stability for when people look at it and they see that something's going on every week, every month. It's credibility, and they want to attend that. And then involving other spaces. There's been a lot of this with conventions now, and just people talking and wanting to do communication via email, IRC groups, just visiting other spaces, talking to them, seeing what they're working on. The Synchronous Hackathon has been fantastic in getting other spaces working together. And there's all sorts of collaboration on projects and competitions. I think that's particularly fun to do, competitions with other spaces on projects, on time, whatever it feels like. So, and that is what I'm doing. If you guys have any questions, if you are starting a hackerspace, if you are in one, you want to talk to me, I'm around. So.
live now. All right. Hello, everybody. This is going to be a quick talk about a project I intended to take a little bit more time to talk about, but I was going to do this in the second part of my first presentation, but I ended up not doing that. Anyway, basically, there's a little microcontroller project I'm working on. My name's Adrian Crenshaw. Enough about me. I've already gone through all that in the previous talk. A little bit of story. ShmooCon 2010, I was given something called a Phantom Keystroker as a speaker's gift. I started looking at this thing, and what it does is it toggles on and off caps lock, moves the mouse around, does crud like that just to be annoying to the person who has it plugged in. It's basically a practical joke. But I started thinking about it. What would happen if, I'm trying to do my best Bible Machines Man impersonation right now. I thought about what would happen if you could program it. There's also cool things you might be able to do with this little gadget. So I started looking around and saying, can I program this? Well, while I was there, I happened to see Darren Kitchen from Hack 5 someplace, and I was like, I know he does a lot of work with the U3 thumb drive. I was like, you know what? U3 thumb drives, auto-run is turned off by default on so many machines now. It'd be good if you can do like a USB HID device, human interface device that you can just plug in, automatically throws the keystrokes you want, and it would get around those problems where auto-run is turned off. Well, he told me, well, me and Robin are kind of working on a project similar to that. Well, I started looking around. I was like, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to what they got coming out. But I got impatient and started looking around for a product that would kind of do it, and I found something called Tinsy. If you want something, if you want to wait for the product to come out, it's going to be a little bit more professional than the stuff I'm about to show. The USB rubber ducky will eventually be up on hack5.org, and Robin Wood of DigiNinja fame and Kuros C2 and all that stuff is doing the development on the coding on that. But if you want to just play around with the idea and you're not wanting to go professional, if you're willing to go ugly early, as they say, then I think this way of going about creating yourself a little USB HID device might just work. First of all, a few notes. I'm new to microcontrollers, so bear with me if I get some things wrong. I'm just getting new into the whole Outerz0ne and AVRs and the PIC chips and so forth. I also suck at soldering. It's just going to become, All right, as I like to say, my soldering skills is like an epileptic alcoholic with the DT soldering with an aluminum baseball bat. I also apparently suck at using rotary tools. I just generally suck. But I had an idea I wanted to create this thing. All right, why would you want a programmable keystroke device? First thing I have to explain to most people is exactly what this might be used for. Well, likely it can type a lot faster than you can type. I actually asked a question on the Paul.com mailing list recently. If you were the Flash and you could type at human speeds and you had like a few seconds on someone's machine, what would you type in? Works even if U3 auto-run is turned off, which it seems to be the default, I think, in Vista and Forward, isn't it? I mean, is off of removable storage?
No, it's still on in Vista.
I thought they turned it off in Windows 7 by default.
No, I think Windows 7.
I'll have to check later on. Regardless, if you install something like VMware, it has a tendency to turn that off. A lot of people also just turn it off because of the security features. It's also likely to draw less attention than sitting down in front of a terminal would. Like, the person turns their head for a second, you plug in this USB device, you pull it back out. It's the way you issue the commands you want at a command prompt. You can also be set to go off on a timer if you want. So if you know someone who's important is going to be logged into a machine in 8 hours, you plug it in and set it to go off 8 hours after you plug it in. So an admin's not in it logged in now, but they log in 8 hours. Boom. Bob's your uncle. You now have an account or some other process fired off and does something on the network with their credentials. Yippee. Just use your imagination. All right, sort of commands I'd issue. Add a user I mentioned before. Run any old program. Copy files to your thumb drive. I can show you later on how to actually make it find your thumb drive by volume label. Because when you plug a thumb drive in, you don't necessarily know what drive letter it's going to get. But there's ways of finding that out if you know the volume label, which we do because we set it all up. Also, you can make it go to a certain website. Like if you know this person uses a certain bank account, or they use Facebook, and they probably have a cookie stored for it, you can have it automatically at a certain time go out and go to Facebook and make a post or do something silly. All right, so what's the name? I had to think of a name for this particular project because, name's important in marketing, isn't it? So, first thing, Mintypone. Because the first thing I put it in, so I'd have the space, and by the way, this is going to be compacted a lot smaller, is an Altoids 10. But, I thought Lady Ada might, sue me for trademark infringement. I don't know. The next thing I thought about was a dipstick, because I was trying to make a smaller version of it where I soldered on a dip, and I would basically put this all in a nicer casing, something like this, make it more thumb drive size. But I started thinking about that dipstick doesn't really say what the thing is. So then I thought, well, how about something a little bit more descriptive, like programmable HID USB keyboard mouse dongle. But that's a mouthful. So let's just see if we can get a decent acronym out of that. Okay. Yes, I think we got an acronym for this. So that's what I'm going with currently. Okay, we have some names, but not how to build one. So I did some Googling around for something that would let me do this. Found some limited items, but the easiest thing I found to do this on is something called a Tinsy. Now, a Tinsy is a 1.2 inch by 0.7 inch device. AVR processor running at 16 megahertz. It's got like 32K of onboard storage for your programs. Doesn't sound like much, but you can do a whole lot of that with that on a microcontroller. Programmer over the mini USB port that's on it, so it's but simple to program. Costs between $18 to $27. Like this little one was just $18. I burnt out some leads on it. I have to buy me a new one for project, but it still works. Even that, I got some cold solder joints. USB HID support's the big thing, and you can get it all from pjrc.com. Alright, I have a real simple wiring diagram here for the one I created in the box. I'll explain what the photoresistor is for in a second. You have analog and digital inputs on here. The digital inputs I just have set up for switches, all going to a common ground. So basically when it goes to common ground, it's considered on in the particular case of this. And I have it all set up using some code to execute something when I'm ready. And I'll explain that photoresistor in a second, like I said. Here's a really simple bit of code, which is probably too small to see, that just tells the LED to come on just as a diagnostic, and then sends keystrokes. In this particular case, all it does is bring up Notepad and says Outerz0ne was here. All this code and so forth will be on my website when I get back home from the con. A little bit more complicated example would be something along the lines of the modded dipstick here. Here, what I've done, and if you have an 8 selection dip switch, that's a possible of 256 combinations you could do. I'm only using 5 combinations because I burnt out some of my leads. Anybody want to buy this thing from me later on so I can buy a new one for doing research, let me know. I had turned on pull-up resistors. They have built-in pull-up resistors inside the chip, which is nice. So I turn those on to make them automatically go high. And basically I check if anything goes low. If something goes low, and by the way, I'm doing this in the Outerz0ne programming environment. Because C, you can do it all in C, but it's going to be a little bit more, more details that you'll have to bother with. Here, the details are more hidden from you. So basically, this one, run at command bar, bring up Notepad, Outerz0ne was here. This one right here does a Control-Alt-Delete. And I have all sorts of different commands. The one for actually finding a thumb drive is right here. Use a for command and WMIC, and I can find my particular thumb drive by its name, and Bob's your uncle, I'm in. Let's see. But to actually demonstrate this thing real quick, I thought I had more readers on me. Eventually I'm going to have this all packaged up in something much nicer, but like I said, I'm having some bad luck with dremeling the things out that I need to dremel out. But let's test out a few of those functions. Let's bring that up. First thing I'm going to test out is just the Outerz0ne was here. And basically the idea is I can set the dip switch for what I want to do, plug it in real quick, pull it back out. None of these things I'm showing use timers as of yet, but there ain't no reason they can't use timers. Number 4 is Control-Alt-Delete, hit Enter. I'm not going to show that off because of time reasons, obvious. Number 6 is just moves the mouse around and clicks, which is just annoying, and brought me to my next screen. Also, you should turn it off before you try to go continue. Alright. Number 7 opens up a website, and this could be like the Facebook example. In this case, I just have it automatically go to my website, but since I don't actually have an internet connection right now, as you can see, this will be maddening in some cases. Did you see a thumb drive that I brought up here? Oh. Bingo. And the final one I have set up on there is it'll find a thumb drive by its volume name. In this case, I have this thing called My Thumb, so that whenever I plug this in, boom, issues that for command with WMIC, and it runs this. And it can run any old thing that you want. Obviously, you want the time delay to be less than that. I just turned it very low for the sake of showing it off here. And it can find a script, knows what script's running from, start copying files, bring up calculator, that's the classic, Notepad, regedit, so on and so forth. But I think you get the general idea. Another thing that I've come up with was, and this is the reason I had that photoresistor set up, is, oh, that's why I had that one. The reason I had the photoresistor set up is so that you can hook a sensor up to it. Since you have analog inputs, in this case, Let's hope this worked and none of the wires came loose. So you can have it set to go off as soon as someone turns on the lights in the office, or 5 minutes after they turn on the lights in the office. Whatever you care to do. And let's see. Now I have way too much crap open. Luckily, I know about Shift F5. That's basically the internals of it. And like I said, I'm working on a smaller one. I got the Outerz0ne for some stuff. It's work in progress. Other ideas I have, better hub and better storage, so you have it all in one nice unit. Because then you could just have one thumb drive size thing that has storage on it, and you can automatically do what you need to do. Leave it around as a thumb drive package, and hoping some unsuspecting user will pick it up and use it. People do that with U3 thumb drives, so ain't no reason they wouldn't do it with this. Trojan hardware. Give someone a cool glow-in-the-dark rubber toy, or give them some hard drive, or say it's a wireless device, and have it wake up after a certain amount of time and issue these commands. But you give it to them as a present, they just think it's a regular USB toy, but it has this kind of hidden functionality in it. And if you have it do some kind of cover-up thing, I mean, no one suspects when a computer just freaks out a little bit. They just think it's one of those things. People don't necessarily pay attention. Also, I thought about doing BIOS password brute forcing, but I think Scott's right on that one. That's probably if you have that much time to access in front of the machine, better off just whipping the drive out. All right. Few links for more information. Eventually, Hack5 is going to be having something out like this, and I'm going to have something on my webpage before too awful long. Tinsy product page is out there, and the code will all be out there open source on my website before too awful long. By the way, you can also set up the vendor ID and the product ID. I set mine to be like 0666 and 1313, and the name of the product was like Cthulhu Keyboard and Mouse. Events, which I talked about earlier, and I would say any questions, but get with me later because we have to get the next person up. Alrighty, come up, talk to me in a bit. If anyone wants to physically see the stuff later, I got it all here. Yeah, I want to open that one.
Not ours.
I was thinking about something. So you're one?
Do they have to switch something on the projector's end? There we go. Uh-oh. Here.
1024 by 768.
Here we go.
Can go ahead.
Okay. Oh, wait.
We need to introduce ourselves first.
Oh, yeah, we should introduce ourselves.
I'm not first supposed to start yet or not.
Is everyone looking at our floppy sticks? Hello, is everyone looking at our floppy sticks? Okay. Well, we should do some quick introductions.
I'm Sporus.
I'm Nadia and
I'm Casey.
And we're giving a talk about what. Yeah. We're talking about bullshit, guys. Come on, get with it. Get with it. Okay. So, as you all know, there was a film set last night. There was a film getting run. And we actually got to go on the set. We got to take a little tour. We got to see everything.
Like floppy sticks.
Like floppy sticks. The Grips took us in, they showed us around, and we're going to tell you how they came to trust us and love us. So, last night, I'm sure there was a few of you that were in the group that decided to go out and see if we could mess with the crew. And our little group of 3 decided to go separately.
And it actually worked for us, unlike the rest of you.
Yeah, who kind of got kicked off. Which brings us to our point 1. When we go and you're about to sneak somewhere or bullshit your way somewhere, you have to know when to ditch your friends. So, let's say your friends are coming along and they're being obnoxious. Are these people with you?
We don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe?
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, how do we get there? How we got to be with the Grips. Okay, we were walking by. We were trying to go straight to the set. Security guard's like, hell no, you can't go to the set. So we started walking away. What we do, everyone pretty much acts the same. Generally speaking, society as a whole, I'm sure all of you have taken a sociology class. We all kind of have the same basic principles. What you want to do is you aim for somebody's quirks. We saw a Grip dancing. What did we do?
Dance with him.
We danced with him. That Grip thought we were cool as shit.
Yep.
So,
What's up?
They thought that you were cool as well as her?
yeah, oh yeah. If they want to bang you, it helps too.
Is there any question as to how cool I am? Because if there is, we can take this outside.
So we're in, we rejected our friends properly, and because of that, we got to see some pretty cool shit, like a
Floppy
minivan.
sticks.
Yeah, and the minivan. Here, show them the minivan. We're actually proving to you that we actually did do this, just in case you did doubt. So there we go. This is us. Oh gosh, this is like 2 in the morning. If you see, there's a guy hanging from. If you see really closely, I don't know how. You can see how there's a guy hanging from the minivan. Immediately after this, looking at the Grips, I want my turn now. I want to ride on the frickin' minivan. Of course, they're laugh. Ha ha ha. All you need is Stickum. How many people know what Stickum is? Okay, 2 of you. Did you know what Stickum is?
Nope.
Did you? Did I? No. But I wanted to ride on the frickin' van. So we go up to the front because people have seen us talking to the Grips for a while, so half of them think that we're now Grips. And we saw a guy with a headset on.
Right.
What did we do?
We happen to say to each other, man, I wish I could get some Stickum.
Yeah, look over to the guy. Hey, where's some Stickum? Well, there's some extra cans of 77 over there. Okay, we got our word association. Stickum. It's something that sticks your hands to a minivan. It's in a can, and it has something to do with 77. This may or may not have come off the set. If it is if this is being videotaped, it probably didn't come from the set. So anyway, in plain view, we may or may not have grabbed one of the cans of Stickum, and I may or may not have said, here, put this in your pocket. And he may or may not have been holding this for a while because he didn't know how to put it in the pocket before giving it to, let's say, Casey, hypothetically, where he then put it in his pocket. During all of this,
We got in the way.
we definitely got in the way.
We noticed that they were moving all of the equipment, the director's chairs and everything, out of the entrance to the hotel where they had been sitting. And we were thinking they were just packing up because the movie was over, and little did we know they were moving them so that they could film in that location. So we're just standing around awkwardly, kind of holding the
Yeah.
Stickum, wondering, okay, what do we do? Somebody comes up.
Pick up chairs and ask them where you want them put.
No, they're just like, guys,
he's
get
like, "Follow us."
inside now. And so we're inside, and they're like, oh, we're sorry. They were very polite to us. They were very apologetic. It's just, we're sorry, guys. We just have to get you out of the way for a second because, we're shooting right now. They're very sweet to us.
Yeah, they had good food inside as well.
Yeah, and 5-hour energy drinks. All for the taking.
They may not have been taken too.
They may or may not have been taken. So, we go around, an actress goes over to Casey and is like, well, what's that?
She's like, I'm glad we rapped today. I'm like, sure,
Say-
man.
Yeah,
good job, guys. Okay, so we got to get a nice view of the Comfy Inn. We could show them the Comfy Inn. Comfy Inn Suites, which I would love. Or I think
Comfy Night Inn.
Oh, Comfy Night Inn. Yeah, this is when we went and chilled with the extras after they were like, "Oh, you guys come back out now." We're like, "Yeah, good job, everyone. That's a wrap." So then we decided to hang with our friends, the Grips, the new Grips, and because we were now part of the gang, we actually got to go up in the truck with them. So
getting in the truck was a lot of fun. One of the security guys ran up as we're climbing into the truck, and he says, "Y'all can't go up there. That's just for people working on the set." One of the Grips goes, "No, it's okay. They're cool."
Yeah, and then
Did you get their Twitter and Facebook so you know where they're going to be working in the future?
No, but we do know that I think tomorrow they'll be at the Applebee's in Swanee if anybody wants to run into them.
Yeah,
So
they're definitely.
we asked them, we said, if hypothetically, and he was confused a little bit by the word hypothetically, but if hypothetically we were to spend the night in the truck, where would we wake up in the morning? He said, he pulls out a piece of paper from his pocket. He says, the Applebee's in Swanee. Okay. We're on our way to Swanee.
Awesome. So this Corolla pulls up then and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'll get out of your way in a second." They're being very sweet, very nice to us. And this whole time, what was the phrase you were using a lot?
We're hackers. We're used to this. Because they kept apologizing to us for things and just stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're used to it. So.
And so this one guy, he was talking to us, and we told him, we are hackers with the HackerCon. He thought we were bullshitting him. He genuinely thought that we were bullshitting about being hackers and that we were Grips just messing with him. It was,
one of the Grips is going around to the different Grips, giving them hugs, shaking hands, saying, it's good working with y'all, see y'all around stuff. He turns to me and gets this confused look on his face. And then he goes, you're not, who are you? And just walks away.
And a lot of these concepts you can apply towards other things like sneaking into concerts. I know I've snuck into a couple concerts before. I got one of the guys from Flogging Molly once to give me a solo performance on his Squeeze box just by going up to him and saying, "Hey, can you play something for me?" It's all about not being insecure, blending in, and, you can't look too nice. You have to look just sketch enough. It really helps with the shaggy beard, the weird colored hair, and the multiple piercings. You put the three of us together, they're like, yeah, these are the kind of people we would hire.
They were basically like a bunch of carnies, so...
They called themselves carnies.
Yeah, they even did. We're like, cool, we could go with this.
Yep. So if you have the drunken haggard look, you're in.
And as you probably could tell from that picture of me on the truck, I was probably still a little drunk at that point.
We had fun.
Where did they put the floppy sticks?
Right in that hole?
Right in the hole. The floppy sticks go right in the hole.
All right. Well, that's floppy. How do you get
Very carefully. And as you can see, we spent a whole lot of time on this presentation.
Yes. So, any questions, comments, or
what movie? Yeah.
The movie is going to be called Hall Pass.
It's starring Owen Wilson, Alyssa Milano, and Christina Applegate, and it's being produced by Warner Brothers.
Are you bullshitting us right now?
No, you can actually go to the IMDb database, and even though we're not...
Yeah, the grip, our main grip buddy, his name was
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah.
We can put faces to half the people in that list because we shook hands with them, danced with them,
Hugged
different things
them.
like that. Hugged them.
Some of them helped me off the truck.
Yeah.
The whole thing's going to be filmed in the list.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sign a waiver so if they filmed you on the truck? Is there a problem?
I don't sign anything.
Yeah, no.
Should we be looking for you in the extras part of the DVD?
Maybe in the part where it says wannabes. We will be in the wannabe section.
Apparently we're over.
We're over. Enjoy your next talk, everyone.